Hi Leo, this is your April 2023 reading using the tarot. This looks like the month is getting off to a flying start. I see with the Eight of Wands, wands flying through the air. Somebody had to throw them there. There's a motorbike revving up, so it's all systems go. This speaks to travel. It speaks to being in demand. It speaks to being here, there, and everywhere. But publishing also comes up. Anything mercurial, like writing, like content, like anything you put out there in the world, and it's just getting swept up. And now it's out in the ether, and it's rolling. It's going. There's no taking it back now. You've put it out there. You put yourself out there. Good for you. You put yourself out there, and now fate steps in, because the Eight of Wands speaks to synchronicity, because it speaks to, like all of the eights, transformation, things not being the same afterwards. And you've put those wheels in motion and you have gotten the ball rolling. I'm talking a lot about like spherical objects turning round and round. Okay, that's coming through, but there is some sort of a like, now it's out there, there's no going back. You don't want to go back anyway, because you've made these choices. It's through your decisions and it's through your actions lately, Leo, that has you where you're at now and has you in demand. It has you having to move, to act, to inspire. You're inspired by others too, and you're just feeling really alive. You may be buying a motorbike, you may be buying a car, you may be servicing one of the above, you might be getting a bike, like a bicycle or a bike. The King of Swords, as we move into the month, and I think from around the 9th of April onwards, there is a deep connection with somebody. Now, it doesn't have to be romantic. I actually usually don't see the King of Swords as a romantic card, but for some reason I see it here as being just like somebody with a very penetrating stare, looking right into your eyes. You look right back. So I'm getting this sort of feeling of like an understanding, and words aren't even really necessary. That doesn't always have to be with a romantic interest. I sometimes feel like that can come up with a pet, right? Or a child that's not speaking yet even. But there is this understanding between you and another person where just looking at each other straight into each other's eyes is enough. So that's just very intense for me. Again, the butterfly symbol here, a transformation is occurring for you this month. But otherwise, the King of Swords tells me that you're understood well, your message is clear, and your boundaries are impeccable. You're standing up very straight and very proud of who you are, very content, very happy with who you are. The King of Swords also speaks to professional careers and different types of careers that perhaps you have to study for, perhaps come with a title, perhaps come with a lot of responsibility and even authority. And some of you are stepping up into a role of more leadership in one of these arenas. For some of you, you're getting a new job or you're mastering your craft from around the 9th onwards. But it just seems to me, Leo, that this month of April is about leveling up and being in complete command, commanding a room, commanding others in a respectful, of course, professional way. But perhaps some of you are actually working with like commanding orders, an officer of some sort, representing the law, representing justice, representing even, military. That could come up for somebody. I don't know. But there's like a daredevil quality here, I guess. The Eight of Wands makes me think of like a badass, a daredevil, an adrenaline junkie, a thrill seeker, seeking thrills at the beginning of the month, and then you just kind of get a feel for it, you get a taste for it, so you keep going with that. These thrills that you seek, of course, could come up by going on a vacation, and if not something else. But I really, if any of the months that I read for you so far, I feel like April is a month for travel, or at least planning the trips. By the end of the month, we see the Page of Wands. I'm about to pull some more cards now and go into these messages a little bit more deeper, pull some clarifiers. But the Page of Wands to me is that traveling energy, the travel bug, the wanderlust, the nomadic kind of free-spirited energy even, because like all the responsibility that you have this month being reflected here with this King of Swords, The Page of Wands is actually a very light-hearted and free-spirited and devil may care energy. So maybe you get to experience the best of both of those worlds this month. Or perhaps this is more of a month where, because of the sort of wheels that you've begun to turn for yourself, now they're in motion and now you're just like living out that, you have to take some responsibility with that, because you know you initiated this, so you've got to look after it. You've got to look after what you planned on doing, or however it is unfolding. Maybe you then decide that, but I do need to take a break. I need to kind of have some fun. I need to play. I need to be silly, and I need to be a bit more spontaneous. But I see like a very spontaneous month, all in all. Even though you have responsibilities, you get to free yourself in a bigger way as well. You could be dealing with you could be dealing with fiery signs or air signs this month. I'm seeing strong Aquarius energy, and I'm seeing some Sagittarius energy too. So Leo, let's start clearing up these cards and getting into the meat and bones of this reading. This is eclipse season. Yeah, how could I forget? Eclipse on the 20th of April is happening in the sign of Aries, another fire sign. Eclipses pertain to destined beginnings and destined endings in our life. Even if they're subtle at first, you can go back over time in 6 months increments. That's how often eclipses happen, every 6 months. And they happen every 6 months. And like that, you can go back and check out what was happening in this eclipse season and this eclipse season and the one before that and the one before that, and and you can really see how your destined pathway and how you walk it and where you got to, and the turning points really occurred for you. It's pretty magnificent actually to sit down and do this. Of course, you can work with an astrologer if you would like to do that, but it's easy. It's a rewarding journey to learn yourself too, I think. Let's have a look at the Eight of Wands for you, Leo. We're looking at this busy start to the month. I'm just going to leave it as vaguely as that. It's been a busy start to the month. Fast-paced. Things happening quickly. For some, it's like not enough hours in the day. The Eight of Pentacles, I should say, work being very busy, needing to be very productive, you're on demand. And Six of Wands in reverse, but you can't please everybody, that's the thing. Because you seem to be spread a little bit thin at the beginning of the month. The Seven of Swords, I've seen this at the bottom of the deck earlier. If you're dealing with a Gemini and even that Aquarius, those air signs, Gemini, Aquarius, things could be a little bit fraught there, or you could even feel like you're missing the mark, you're like passing ships, or you're missing each other's point of view, or you're not understanding each other, or even that there's like something being kept from either a Gemini or Aquarius. You're keeping something from them, or they're deciding to keep something from you. But yeah, Gemini and Aquarius energy coming up a lot in this reading. The Eight of Pentacles and Eight of Wands. The work you're doing is transformative. The eights in tarot are about transformation. And the wheels that are turning that you've set into motion are now aligning. And the kind of output that you're churning out, like piece after piece, this is transformative. It's not for nothing. It's really significant as the work you're doing and what you're working on, and why is it happening now? Why is that so relevant? Believe you me, it feels very relevant from the point of view that I'm looking at. There's a need for you to be doing this at this time for whatever reason. And it's why it's so important, basically. And I just think that, yes, you may feel like you're spread thin. Yes, you may feel like, you're in high demand, but didn't you ask for this, or didn't you want it on some level? And it wouldn't be in such high demand unless it was, unless there was a kind of demand, I guess, unless there was a want for that. And I like to see that work is flying for you. Projects are flying, goals are being attained. But at the same time, this speaks to enormous visibility, recognition, acclaim, and popularity. In reverse, it's not going to be for everybody. It's not going to please everybody. But that means it's authentic, because if it was just some sort of a cookie cutter rinse and repeat, the Eight of Pentacles can be. I don't see that right now, though. I think it's a little bit of a risk involved. I think there's excitement with it. I think it's going to help broaden people's horizons, and I see travel, I see work, traveling on the move, working on the move, sorry, traveling on the move, but like incorporating your work, your passions, your goals, your day-to-day routine while you're on the move, while you're changing your surroundings, while you're keeping an open mind. This is not going to sit well with every single person, but that's totally okay. You may find it's like the Aquarius or the Gemini that's coming to you with their air sign opinion, and they're telling you like what they like, what they don't like. There could be critique, and that might be all it is. There's critique. If your work is getting critiqued, I don't see that as such a bad thing either. I mean, it means that you're having an impact. But the Six of Wands could also just be something about your reputation, being at risk or being vulnerable. I'm not saying that anything happens to your reputation, but the Six of Wands has to be, at least that idea has to be floated out there by you, to see how you feel about that, to see how thick of a skin you have grown, and to see how you feel about that potential risk, and would you still be okay? Chances are yeah, right? So take the risk anyway, I think, is the message, and be aware that some people may have something to say about it, but as long as you know your heart, as long as you know yourself, then I guess that skin is going to be like thick enough to handle it, right? So let's look at the King of Swords. For those of you who feel like this may be in a significant person coming into your life, or you're dealing with somebody where they're just like staring straight into your soul, like they are just, they're reading you, they see you. Well, I do have a relationship reading on my Patreon if you want to jump over there and have a look. It's exclusive content there. That might be relevant, and if not, let's just get back into this reading. What's happening, I guess, around the 9th of the month onwards? There is a Jupiter-Sun conjunction on the 11th in the sign of Aries, which I feel like is a bit of a leveling up for you. This is happening in a fire sign, Aries. You're a fire sign, Leo, whether you're a sun, moon, rising, Leo, Venus, whatever placement whatever you've got going on in Leo. That Jupiter Sun conjunction in a fire sign, Aries, will be making a trine to your fire sign, Leo placements. This is a good, harmonious, flowing aspect. So it would tell me that around the 11th, there's like a stroke of good luck for you. And I think it comes through, well, let's see how it may come through. No need for me to jump the gun. We're not in a rush. The Sun card, like the Sun Jupiter conjunction, and the Sun is your ruling planet, and it's beautiful for you and it's blessings for you. The Wheel of Fortune, Jupiter rules the Wheel of Fortune. I mean, I couldn't make this up. When you've got it, you've got it, baby. When you've got the touch, you've got it. And I'm going to speak like that because a Leo would appreciate that. And it's the Leo Jupiter. I mean, it's the Sun Jupiter conjunction we're talking about. That happens 11th of April. 11/11, you know what to do. It's going to be a wishful thinking kind of day, a positive, exuberant, endless possibilities, endless blessings, endless reasons to be grateful. This is very beautiful energy coming up around your sign on the 11th. The Sun meets Jupiter in the sign of Aries, and the Aries part of your birth chart is going to receive a blessing. My Aries part of my chart is my 7th house of significant one-to-one relationships. My partner and I might be blessed with something. I've had a lot of 7th house activation where my Aries house is, and it's been things like me signing leases because they're legal agreements, they're binding contracts. It's been things like signing affidavits. It's been negotiations with my partner to kind of get get a better deal on our leases and things like that. So I just wanted to say, like, it can come up in any way, shape or form for you, depending where your Aries house is. Look to your Aries chart, your Aries governed house in your birth chart. That's where this blessing is mainly coming through for you. And I wish I could say more. It could be travel. The Wheel of Fortune speaks to Jupiterian themes like expansion, seeing the world, cross-cultural experience. It could be very philosophical. It could be higher minded, like the King of Swords can be quite high-minded, like you're thinking about the big picture, you're thinking more intellectually, you're smart, you're witty, you have an intrigue about you, but you're not gatekeeping it either. You're sharing your interests, you're sharing your childlikeness, and you're sharing your playfulness. You're just sharing. Thank you, Leo. Share, and Leo is just the archetype of sharing, right? Because the sun provides the warmth, but that does never diminish the sun's own vibrancy and warmth. So like the sun, Leo, you can still share compliments, affection, love, support, hype people up without that ever diminishing that within yourself, because you're a never-ending supply of warmth and you're just a big hug, okay? And I think that you're feeling really good mid-month, which might be nice, because if you remember our March reading, what was that like? How was that for you? I did get some like DMs being like, oh my god, that was super relevant, like from several people. So feel free to share in the comments too, like feel free to share with me in any way, shape or form how that was for you in March. And I mean, this just looks so much different, and I think it's going to be really positive for you. But how I do see some expansion occurring for you otherwise is career. You get that diploma, you get that PhD, you write that thesis, you get that promotion, you get that business card, you get the kind of seal of whatever man-made approval, and that's fine. We don't mind, you know, we don't mind that we have to be humans and live the human experience while being divine children of light. Of course, I mean, we're that too, but we're also human, so sometimes we need to, well, we always need to be a human, right? But sometimes we need to play the game. Sometimes we need to, King of Swords, you know, meet the criteria for certain standards in our professional life, in our working careers, in our vocation, in our, I see some of you being professors, and that's very ninth house kind of Jupiter to me, where it's like you're sharing your knowledge. You're a professor, you go to a lecture, you listen to someone's theories, you tell them your theories. It's very high-minded. The sun is very expansive, so is the Wheel of Fortune, and you're sharing ideas, and it's fabulous, and I love it. Okay, moving on to the Page of Wands, because I can't really go much more detailed with that because they're major arcana cards. It's going to be very different for everybody that's watching, but it's going to be good. So the Page of Wands, we're closely approaching eclipse season. You know, in a few days' time, we're going to be in the eclipse season portal. The exact hit of the first eclipse of this series happens on April 20th. The second is in early May. But for now, let's focus on the 20th of April onwards and what's going on in that fiery Aries eclipse. It's happening directly on my Venus, would you believe? I wonder what's going to happen, or I wonder how it will unfold, rather. I have a 29-degree Venus in Aries. Yes, that critical degree of Aries, that's where my Venus sits. And this eclipse is happening at 29 degree of Aries. So I'm wondering, yes, conjunct my Taurus moon, like, you know, that's the Taurus moon card. My Taurus moon is at 0 degrees of Taurus, so it's also happening on my moon. Wish me luck, guys. What is going down at the end of April? Well, again, let me know in the comments how this eclipse season begins to manifest for you, how are you doing around the 20th of April? I look forward to hearing. Let's have a look at the Page of Wands now and see what's coming through. What is it about your reading this month, Leo, that's encouraging me to share? The Page of Wands, the Knight of Swords, that's the Gemini energy again. And the Seven of Swords, yeah, that's the Aquarian kind of like what's going on. I'm not relating well to you. That I do see that. Okay, so a little tension at the end of the month, and that's normal, very, very normal. Eclipses bring about just like a greater intensity and not necessarily volatility, but things are changing because things are destined to change. And that is to bring us closer to alignment. We want to live in alignment. We want to live as authentically as possible. And eclipse energy tends to rock the boat and do that so that perhaps you will take a way, navigate a way for yourself that you may not ordinarily have taken if there wasn't a push, if there wasn't a block, an obstacle, the Seven of Swords, an obstacle preventing you from going on your merry way. Hey, I reached some sort of an obstacle and it's tension and it's, it might send you into kind of a scattered feeling or stressed mindset. Only as you kind of approach the situation with more of a curiosity, like the Page of Wands, more of an open-mindedness and less kind of feeling of resistance and trying to control, then the further you get down that pathway, you'll start to see, oh, now I know why that block came up. Now I get why there was a detour. It encouraged me to take a road I may not have gone down, but I'm sure feeling happy that I did. And there could be a little bit of tension. I mean, eclipse energy, like I said, new and full moons by their nature are the kind of more potent parts of the lunation cycles. And when the nodes are involved making the making the new and full moons eclipses rather than regular new and full moons, then that's when things get quite spicy. That's when, the nodes pertain to destiny and karma and the unfolding of our soul's evolution, and the kind of points, that the hot spots along the way. So that's why perhaps things could get a little bit unsettled, but unsettled's okay. There's an excitement with this, like the Knight of Swords. They're not settled, but the beginning of the month isn't settled either, but it's still fun, but it's still very vibrant. These are extremely fast moving energies from the beginning of April to the end of April. We may just feel like that fiery energy of April just all through Aries season until the sun also moves into Taurus on the same day of the eclipse. Of course, there has to be always something quite impactful in a couple of areas of our charts at that time. But the sun moves into Taurus that day. And it seems like things might slow down after the eclipse. But based on this reading, I just see like April, it's like blink and you miss it. Blessings to be had, a lot of fun to be had, a travel for sure, excursions, vacation, at least planning these things. And then at the end of the month, could be a difficulty with one of the air signs where you either like brush right past each other, you're not even like present with each other, and then there's just this awkward feeling or something, or else you crash right into the air sign. This is you, fiery Page of Wands, you crash right into the air sign, and there is this tension, or there's like friction there, but you're just really busy all the way through the month. And Rushing is not advised, okay? Because this is a plan that hasn't really been, I think we saw this in your last month's reading, the Seven of Swords, but however, it was the plan that's not fully worked out yet, and you're still fine-tuning that plan. This plan could be in the works for a while for you now at this point, and by the end of April, it's still feeling rushed. Trust that. If it feels rushed, if it doesn't feel right, if it feels like you have to cut corners too much, or kind of put out something that isn't Eight of Pentacles, that isn't your usual standard, then just save it. Again, like I said during this reading, I just had that message, like, we're not in a rush. I don't think you're in a rush, Leo. I think you've got time to make this exactly, authentically, divinely right for you. Okay, take care, Leo. Please consider subscribing. Leave me a comment if you wish. I would love to hear from you. Take care.